Well, let's recap the latest in the war on Gaza. Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 2,450 Palestinians since last Saturday. At least a quarter of them were children. The Israeli military has killed more Palestinians in 8 days than it did in 51 days of war on Gaza in 2014. The number of Israelis killed in Hamas's military operation stands at 1,400, including 289 soldiers. Israel has ordered 1.1 million Palestinians in northern Gaza to move south as the military prepares for a wide-ranging land, air and sea invasion. Well, Akiva Eldar is a political analyst joining us from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera. First of all, what has been the reaction in Israel to the 2,450 Palestinian civilians that have been killed so far in Gaza?
Tom, I can just give you a taste of the reaction in Israel to people who dare to mention the Palestinian victims. A renowned Israeli chef, Eyal Shani, wrote a post begging Netanyahu to help the babies in incubators in Gaza, to help them to get out. After he got so much hate mail and he was labeled a traitor, he had to remove this post from the social media. The Israeli public opinion is still mourning the victims of the massacre, comparing this to the Holocaust, to genocide. Any politician, even from the left, doesn't dare now to talk against an attack on Gaza and about human crisis in Gaza. And this is going to change, I believe, in the next few days after the international media, the international public opinion is going to change, and Israel will turn from a victim to the aggressor.
So you're basically saying that the anger and hatred is so strong in Israel, you can't even mention Palestinian civilians that have been killed. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
There are a couple of brave journalists, such as Gideon Levy in Haaretz. I can count them on one hand. I wrote an article today in Haaretz saying that what Israel needs is a peace cabinet rather than a war cabinet, and mentioning the Arab Peace Initiative that was endorsed again in Jeddah a few months ago. And people, you should see the reaction, the talkbacks I'm getting. You know, there was a journalist today who was praying for the recovery of civilians, both in Israel and in Gaza. And he had to be helped out from his house by the police, since he was harassed by right-wing gangsters.
Wow.
The Israeli emotions are very clear, that there is no room for peace now. The Hamas is not looking for a two-state solution for independence. They are equal to ISIS. And Israel, on top of this, has got a full clearance from the international community, and first and foremost for the United States, to do what it takes in order to remove Hamas from Earth. And even if this means, I would even say, crime against humanity. The United States is looking at the Hamas and now Hezbollah as the aggressors, the ultimate aggressors, and Israel has the right to defend itself. This is the message that the Israeli public is getting.
Well, given all of that and the fact that we've seen Netanyahu build expectations and the case for war over the last few days, I mean, do Israelis want to see a full invasion of Gaza?
And this is really connected to your previous question, Tom. Look, previously, in the previous rounds of escalation, aggression in Gaza, the option of ground invasion was just in very marginal corners of the Israeli public opinion and the experts. Yeah. Now it's the opposite. For the first time, there is a consensus among the Israeli former generals, who are, many of them were protesting against Netanyahu just a few weeks ago. And now I think that people are giving up the rational thinking and the thinking about what will happen the day after the ground invasion. What happens after Israel goes back to Gaza? Do we want to build more settlements in Gaza, like we did until 2005? Nobody is really getting answers to the question, what will happen the day after? We don't want to build a military government. We don't want to take the full responsibility of the 2 million people, civilians, education, healthcare, you name it. So we have to think about, the international community is not going to tolerate more aggression after what is happening now with pushing to another Nakba. We call it Nakba number 2. What happened in 48 cannot happen again.
Right. Well, I mean, we've seen protests, I believe they were yesterday, against Netanyahu from family members, Israeli family members that had families held captive by Hamas. I mean, how deep is the anger towards him, and is there blame towards him and the government for allowing Hamas to, I guess, embarrass Israel like they did on Saturday?
Yeah, there are more and more Israeli who are demanding to release the Israeli hostages. Just, Tom, remember how many Palestinian prisoners, including murderers, were released for one Israeli soldier who was held by the Islamic Jihad, Gilad Shalit. The whole country was busy in demonstrating and protesting and demanding his release. Now think about maybe more than 100 Israelis, including old people who cannot survive without their medication. There are people who are 84, 85 years old. There are babies there. And of course, there is a growing pressure on the government. The problem is that unlike in the former rounds of aggression, Israel was willing to negotiate through German negotiators, facilitators, through Egypt. As far as I understand, now nobody wants to talk to us. Hamas is saying, first of all, Israel has to stop the air raid and to agree to a ceasefire, which Israel is not willing to hear about. And this is the paradox. On one hand, Netanyahu doesn't have legitimacy. He lost his legitimacy.
Yeah.
See, people are accusing him for the war. On the other hand, people trust him that he knows what he's doing, which I don't.
OK, well, thank you so much for your time and your insight. That is Akiva Eldar, a political analyst in Tel Aviv.
Thank you, Tom.